So I've just come to edit this video and realised that me and James basically just rambled on about Villa and didn't actually talk about the whole game too much in this preview. So obviously it's titled the Ipswich preview, so I'm going to take a little clip from Dan and Chris in the podcast studio, which will be at the end of mine and James's chat. We just talked for 20-25 minutes about Villa in general, our recent form, Dean Smith, the fans, players, all sorts of different topics we talked about. We didn't talk about a starting 11 or a prediction or anything. We usually talk about the location that we were shooting in. We actually ran out of time to finish all that. So by the time we'd got to the half an hour mark of recording, we realised we've actually not talked about Ipswich at all. So there'll be a little bit at the end from Dan and Chris, but enjoy me and James just talking about Villa and having a general catch up about what's going on at the moment. What are you thinking about this game Saturday, 3 PM kickoff, Paul Lambert returns to Villa Park?
I'm positive.
Yeah.
I think you have to be when you're facing a team that is kind of occupying the bottom slot of the Championship table, but you can't take anything for granted. We know that now.
Yeah.
We got trashed 3-0 by Wigan, knocked out the FA Cup, drew 2-2 with QPR. So yeah, we can't take anything for granted. Positive job. Play attacking football, dominate the match, and just be patient and get the goals we need to win that game. I think we can win it, definitely.
Yeah, without risk of doing what I did in the Wigan match preview, I basically said queue up Villa to lose 2-0 now. Cause it's one of those games, again, where you look at it and go, bottom of the league, 7 points adrift. Villa should be winning this game, but we know that football doesn't work like that. But, again, I'll say it, we should be winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to go up automatically or qualify for the playoffs or at least finish top 10, you got to beat the teams that are under you, and Ipswich unfortunately are under us, and that's not, again, not saying how great we are, because we haven't been great, but we have to perform well. We have to beat Ipswich, and we have to show the Championship kind of what we're made of again, because we have went off the ball, and I mean, people laughed me and you off for saying we might lose to Wigan and we'll drop points against Hull. Those two things actually happened. So we can't.
I'm not proud of that.
No, I'm not proud of that. But those things happen. These situations, I can't believe we're going through the motions again of saying, you know, that we're invincible, because we're not. We're not this massive team that beats every single club. There are teams in this league that are doing that, and we need to follow their lead and do just that.
Let's talk about Paul Lambert a little bit then. What did you make of him as a manager since leaving Aston Villa? He's
probably taken the worst possible jobs that he could have taken, like Blackburn. Yeah, Blackburn under Venky's was a dodgy one. Wolves is probably, that was an alright opportunity, but he didn't get along with the new direction. More for him, for how that turned out, I guess. Stoke, no idea how he thought that was going to work out. And Ipswich, you know, Ipswich at the time when he joined, I was thinking, what are you doing? But it's clear that there's, you know, a rebuilding process there.
Yeah.
And it probably involves him. He said he'll stay if they go down. They probably are going down.
Yeah.
Wish him all the best. I think he left Villa under quite a cloud, and we thought when he was sacked after we lost to Hull that time, we all thought, oh, it can only get better from here, and it didn't. It really didn't. And so I think we can use hindsight to look at his time at Villa and say it was probably wasn't as bad as what we've come to accept. But I wish him all the best. Hopefully not against Villa. I mean, he's going to be looking at this game because he wants to prove Villa wrong every time, you know, naturally. And so I hope we cane Ipswich, but best of luck to him for the rest of the championship season, because they're going to need it. Despite where Ipswich are, they're fairly positive.
They've just won as well, haven't they, the last game?
Yeah, they beat Rotherham. I don't know if it was this week or last, but they definitely picked up 3 points. Yeah. No, they lost to Blackburn. Last time out, Paul Lambert actually paid for the travel. Yeah. So you know, the fans are backing him. They're showing him massive support, and that's all they can do, really. So, you know, maybe they see this as a free hit. They're going up against a team that probably should beat them, but stranger things do happen. Yeah. And Villa probably aren't in the strongest position right now, and that's probably the best and worst case scenario. I know they're both the same thing, but that's probably the best and worst case scenario for Villa, because they need to turn around, and this is the perfect time to do it. Yeah. But they're also in such a bad run of form, so you don't know how it's going to play out. I think Villa will win. I definitely think Villa will win, but it's how hard they make that.
I saw a comment on YouTube saying, look, it's still two defeats in 13 or something like that, and said, stop the moaning. Can you look at Villa's recent run and go, okay, well, it is only 2 defeats in 13, or is this defined as a bad run for Villa now?
I think short term people should be frustrated, because there was a lot of optimism, and that's been crushed pretty much gone. For reasons why that's happened, you can probably look on the pitch and tactically, but you can also look at the regime change at Villa, how they're kind of moving away from paying the players who are there currently big sums of money. They're going to be shipping on a lot of that first team, and that might be people you would expect to start every single game. They might know that they're going. So
I saw your theory on Twitter, and it's something that I had considered before I'd read it. So I'll put it up on screen. But you basically said, is it a possibility that the first team players playing know they won't be here next season because they're on high wages, the contracts are running out, and they think, oh, I'm not going to be here next season, so I'm on the beach already. Is that a realistic thing to suggest of a professional footballer to do? Yeah,
because I think they're only human, and as much as they probably love Aston Villa,
maybe subconsciously.
Yeah, it can affect you subconsciously. It's like if you knew that your job was going, you would want to do the best, but are you actually doing the best? And I think that's a big question for everyone, really. But in terms of Aston Villa, if these players know that they're going, are their performance levels going to drop? And I think that's a fair question, and we haven't got the answer for that. No. They probably don't. The players will say that they're doing their best, but subconsciously those performance levels can drop, and they will drop, and that's just part and parcel of making the change that Villa have made. If you're looking at the transfer rumours and people they're looking to bring in, you know, you're looking at the players who aren't performing well enough. They're going to get replaced by younger, cheaper players, and they might think, hang on, but that's just football, isn't it? That's being in the Championship, and Villa's overheads are ridiculous.
Prime example of that is Yannick Bolasie, a player that when the first sort of, I don't know, 5 or 6 games under Smith, and he was coming off the bench, I think he scored a couple, and then he started a game, and it was like, okay, this is a player that we thought we were getting, tricky winger. Obviously went to Everton for big money from Palace. That was a different player since then with injuries and stuff, but you still think should rip up the Championship, should be too good for this league. And since then, you're paying a player £70,000-80,000 a week for what? We weren't getting nothing from Bolasie, and now he goes back to Everton, which apparently he cancelled the loan his end, but whether that's to, he knows he can get another move somewhere else or whatever, we don't know at this point of recording. If he might be playing for another club by the time this video comes out, but Villa weren't getting the best value for money for that deal anyway. And then you bring back Andre Green, a player we actually own, play him. Because we're mid-table in the Championship, we don't need players like Yannick Bolasie, and he won't be here next year. There was no chance of signing him. We won't be paying players 80k a week anymore until we get promoted, and even then, it should be a model of like Bournemouth are doing. I know they spend money now, but when they first came up, that should be what we should be looking to aspire to be now. So players like Yannick Bolasie don't have a future at Villa Park anymore.
Maybe the point of the move was for Everton and Bolasie to just get him his minutes on the pitch, and he has got them. He's cancelled the move at the last possible opportunity he had to. You know, I think he had
the deadline was Sunday night, and apparently he sent the email Sunday night. It's the report, which, I mean, typical, isn't it? But we record Andre Green before then, so whether we knew that was coming, I don't know. But it's almost like, at first I was thinking, oh well, we've recorded Green, so it was our decision. But then news comes out that it was his decision. I mean, who do you believe at that point?
Yeah, I think it was his decision. Because I think if Villa did it, they'd be stuck with his wage or something like that. There'd been a penalty or something. So, you know, part of me is fair play to him for, you know, at least, you know, he could have cut it on the 1st of January.
Until he ends up at another Championship promotion club. He'll probably go to Middlesbrough because he was linked with them in the summer. But, I mean, if he thinks Middlesbrough have got a better chance of promotion and he'll play more games, then it's in his right to move on, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's a loan player. Villa had no chance of signing him. They've paid his wage, and the unfortunate thing with his wage is his value. He's overvalued. He's a 6 or 7 out of 10 footballer, and maybe an 8 on his day. But you're not going to get that every week, and that's the worst thing that can happen with these players is when their value's inflated, because that's on them now. It's like your 70 grand, 80 grand. You need to perform to those.
That's not his fault.
No, it's
to a degree.
It's odd because you look at him and he's judged more than players like a Doma or Green because of his value, and that may not be his fault. He's just been given that because that's the way the Premier League is. To buy the only players you can buy are those 6 or 7 out of 10 players playing above levels at Crystal Palace, paying 30 odd million for them and 70 grand when they're not worth that.
Enough of the Yannick Bolasie podcast. Let's talk about the last game a little bit and how that affects the upcoming, even the last run of form, to be honest. So I was looking at the game the other day, and it's the old cliche is that you at least want the players to put the effort in. You want them to show some desire, a bit of passion. I mean, it's a classic cliche, isn't it? Passion and fight and all that sort of stuff. But when you see players like John McGinn and probably Tammy Abraham are the only two that are considered to be putting it in at the moment. Like a clip I saw earlier, Tammy Abraham's dropping deep and pointing to players like Balassi, oh, you do this, you do that. It's like, this guy's 21, he's on loan, and if Wolves had put up the money for him a couple of weeks ago, he wouldn't be here. Whereas a player like him is almost like a captain in himself, where he's putting the effort in. John McGinn is, I mean, I don't think he's at his best of what we've seen early season, but he's putting it in, he's covering every blade of grass. If I was playing next to those players, I mean, I'm not a footballer, so maybe this doesn't apply, I'd be thinking, I should be ashamed of my performance next to his. Because he's putting in, I don't know what the numbers are for miles per game. If he's putting in 10 miles a game, I should be doing that. Because we're a team, we're a collective, we should all be showing the same effort. If he can do it, we can do it. And I look at other players, and I'm thinking, are they putting in 100%?
Say you don't like a player, he's never going to impress you unless he massively overperforms. There's people out there who just don't like Hodger. They just don't like him. And for them, unless he's scoring, he's not doing enough.
He's lazy.
Yeah, he's lazy, which, you know, probably isn't actually true. No. But because people have this unconscious bias, or, you know, bias towards players they may not appreciate, they're always going to think. Yeah. It's like Glenn Whelan. You know, if he makes a mistake, that is highlighted. Yeah. Whereas if maybe Hourihane or McGinn made that mistake, and McGinn makes a lot of mistakes.
Were you at the game the other day? Mm-hmm. Did you see that it came out to McGinn and he smashed it from like the volley or whatever from like 35 yards, and it blazed into the whole end, and after it everyone's chanting his name, and I was thinking, if that was Hourihane or Whelan or Codger, it'd have been, whoa, what you doing, but because McGinn's, I mean, I like McGinn, I'm not sort of saying this to say, oh yeah, he deserves abuse as well, because no one deserves any sort of abuse. But because he scored a worldie a few weeks back or a few months back, he can get away with that, and everyone goes, oh, okay, John, come on, Super John McGinn and all that. If that was another player, that'd have been given penalties for that.
I think he has earned the, you know, that platform and that privilege to not be criticised almost because of his performances. Yeah. But I think it's quite, you know, you have players who'll come on for a performance and they'll just be run over. Yeah. I think it happens to Glenn Whelan more often than not. But, you know, players like that take a lot of criticism, and sometimes it's warranted. A lot of the time it's warranted, but most of the time it's not. And I think, you know, when you're looking at people who put in 100% effort, I don't think that's something we can define. In certain situations, they aren't doing enough for their teammate. I think Kalinic let down his defence on Hull, against Hull, with that first shot. He should have covered it, because his defence were running ragged trying to help, you know, stop the opportunity, and they took one like tame shot from outside the box, which is like the worst shot to take, and it went in. And
he got a finger to it as well, didn't he? And for a big guy, you think, well, if he's getting a finger to that, and he's 6'5", whatever, does that mean his starting position wasn't right? Because he's only reaching that because he's so big. If he was 2 inches to the left, he gets a hand to it and he probably saves it. So you look at it and go, should he be saving stuff like that? And then you're 1-0 down, 2-0 down. Eventually you get back into it and draw the game 2-2, which is, I mean, at 2-0 down, you obviously take a point, but and Hull in form. But you look at individual moments and go, that goal probably shouldn't even go in, and then the whole game is potentially different then.
Yeah, the first goal should have been covered, because it was the worst possible shooting opportunity that Hull could have been had.
It's near post as well.
Yeah, it was near post from barely outside the box, and his defence, like a lot of people singled out Neil Taylor for that, but James Chester had 2 men on him. What's he meant? He left Bowen unmarked, but if you leave James Chester without help, they just play around him and they get a better shooting opportunity. They gave Hull the worst possible chance to score, and Hull still scored. But again, later in the game, Kalinic wasn't helped out by his defence. He ran straight into Neil Taylor, who probably shouldn't have been in there, and Neil Taylor had a chance to clear, and he wasn't able to. So it swings and roundabouts, but I think they need to look at each other and look at the unit and probably not separate themselves so much. I think you've really got to pull the individual errors and scrap them.
When Dean Smith first came in, I remember Dan talking about it, I remember other people talking about, you got to give him time, he won't be able to get his playing style in straight away, it might take a few weeks or months until we see some sort of fruits of his labour. But obviously because we started so well, I feel like that's affected how we're assessing it. Because if you, on paper, right, you'd have come into Middlesbrough away, Derby away, games like that, and going, oh, Villa have got no chance here, it's a tough away game. They managed to beat them both. I mean, you drop points at Wigan, Preston, QPR, Hull, and you think, and you look at those and think games they probably you would have won. So are we just middling out and being average, that if we'd have lost to Derby and Middlesbrough and beat Wigan and QPR, we'd still be the same position anyway?
It's very fair to criticise Villa at the moment. I think they are playing pretty badly, and they're losing games pretty much down to individual errors. I'm
not excusing the recent form as going, oh well, we can just forget about it because we beat Derby and Middlesbrough. I'm not saying that. It's just that if those games hadn't have happened, and we'd have won the last couple, we'd still be the same position in the table anyway, and people might not have been judging so harshly. It's just that this last run of games since sort of middle December has been poor.
It has, yeah. Would you have rather beat Leeds and lost to Swansea?
Oh yeah, exactly. It evens out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Villa beat Swansea when they probably shouldn't have, and they lost to Leeds when they probably shouldn't have. They were 2-0 up. They shouldn't have lost that game, but they did, and here we are. I think they've taken a few heavy blows. That Wigan loss is probably the worst thing that could have happened. Yeah. Absolutely. It's away from home. It was up north. It was in pretty rubbishy conditions, and Wigan went at them. Yeah. They had a lot of luck go their way, but they also made their own luck, and I think that's really hit Villa quite hard, because
we were rubbish before that, though. Yeah,
we have been bad this season. We can't ignore the fact that, look, we played Sheffield United, are an incredible team this season. They play really good football, and they're a unit. Yeah. They'll probably, if not going up top, they'll be up there with Leeds, definitely. No doubt in my mind. And we got smashed by them. Yeah. We got ruined by them instead.
But they were a good team, so you can excuse that. Going to Wigan, who'd scored 3 goals in December, and they scored 3 goals on the day, that shouldn't be happening.
I find it's rough, because it's like you can explain it away. You can go, oh, we beat all these teams and it was the same players, and then we hit this massive run of form. It's really confusing, and to be honest, I don't have the answer for it.
But that's the thing, because everyone was happy to say give Dean Smith a few months, give him the season right off this season, give him 3 transfer windows. Now all of a sudden we haven't won at home since, I think, Birmingham was the last home game we won, and people are going, Dean Smith's not good enough, get rid of him. Well, this is the time that he needed, that everyone was willing to give him. When he joined in October, everyone was saying, yeah, this is fine, right off the season. And we started well, fell off, and people who are only saying now he's not good enough because of that last period. When we were beating Derby and Middlesbrough, everyone was going, this guy's amazing.
Well, I work with a Hull fan, and I come into work, and there wasn't much like banter about it, because it's 2-2, and we both probably should have won. Yeah. Both probably had moments where we deserved to lose. And he was saying, I couldn't believe that you were booing your own team at half time. And
I hate that.
I don't like that. And I think something struck out to me. There was a bloke we were 2-0 down. There's a bloke 3 rows in front of me, or 4, waving his season ticket. And the last time I saw,
half time?
Yeah, at half time. And I think everyone is right to criticise Villa, but matches only finish at 90 minutes.
Yeah. Cliche.
Yeah, they do, but Villa didn't lose 2-1, they drew 2-2, and they've come back, on the face of it, if you ignore the wider context, to come back from 2-0 down in really difficult circumstances, that's incredible. And
against a team in form.
Yeah, against the form team in the Championship, one of the best teams in form in Europe. Yeah. I think they were second under Ajax. That's crazy. Man United, up there with Man United, there's a team, people say, oh, it's Hull, but it's a Hull who have won 6 games on the bounce, including Leeds. Yeah. And I think booing at half time went on. I think do you pay money to win, or do you pay money to watch Villa? And I think that's a question we need to answer.
Well, everyone's obviously got the right to do whatever they want, because this channel is based on us talking here and saying what we want. Fans come and speak and say what they want. I've got no, if you want to chuck your season ticket and boo at half time, you do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't do that, because I feel like the players know. At half time, those players aren't walking off the pitch hearing the boos and going, oh, I thought we'd done all right. Yeah, they will know they've not performed. They will know that this run that we're on since December or whatever has not been good enough, and players should be looking at themselves and going, yeah, I need to do more here. We as a unit need to do more. We need to put the work in on the training ground and perform. It's whether they and the staff, because the staff aren't exempt from this as well, they've got to take responsibility. It's whether they can put that right and put some sort of run together, whether that's enough to get into playoffs for us to go up this year or not, or whether it's just a momentum thing to give us a good end to the season, something to cheer about, something to take into next year. They've got to put something together, so we've got some sign of this is the right system and the right setup, but that's going to take time. Like everyone was willing to give in October, time was allowed then. Is it 3 months later in January and all of a sudden it's, oh no, this isn't allowed?
Let's talk about the Ipswich game. So if you look at the league table and their recent record, if ever there was a good team to play at Villa Park, it's Ipswich Town, but as we often know in football, those kind of things don't go hand in hand.
Jordan Barry's going to
Jordan Barry playing for him?
No, but he's going to come down in like a Superman costume and land in the pitch, and he's going to score the winner.
I mean, they've got big Simon. They've got big Simon Dawkins.
Oh yeah,
obviously he ripped it up when he was at Villa Park.
Yeah, oh man, I just dreading Saturday. I'm absolutely dreading.
Are you dreading it because it's like Lambert?
Just Lambert, and you could. if you're going to put a house on something like a bet, put your house on Villa getting beaten 1-0.
Surely this has got to be the one we win. If we don't win this, we have to beat Ipswich on Saturday.
I'm done. If we don't win Saturday, I'm done.
What do you mean? Never going to come on the podcast again?
Until Reading.
You're done until the week after when we're going to Reading. Yeah.
I honestly can't call it, Dan. I can't.
James Collins returning as well. I've put it at infiltrator.
Yeah.
You've been training with us all season.
I know.
You might know all our best plans.
I know.
What do you think of that?
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say.
You're on a podcast.
I know. But you know what I mean. I'm just as I'm speaking, I'm just like visualizing. I'm visualizing the game and visualizing how it's going to go.
Yeah.
This should be the one, as you said. You know, we've got a good record against.
I mean, we couldn't ask for a kinder fixture.
No. But I thought Ipswich. I thought Wigan would be a kind fixture to us.
I mean, it's away though. Although we've been better away, so actually. Yeah. I'm going to say that it's going to click.
I think we'll get beat 1-0 from a set piece, and it'll just be Lambert in a tracksuit, in an Ipswich tracksuit with PL on it, just running around, giving it stacks. And he'll love it, and that'll be it.
He'll love the press conference talking about Villa Werner.
And that'll be his little 5 minutes of fame for Ipswich, and they'll go down, and he'll leave, and that'll be it. But they'll beat us.
He beat us with Wolves, didn't he? 1-0.
He did.
He loved it. What change would you make?
Unless we get current.
Yeah, what we've got there at the minute.
You'd have to go Kalnich, you'd have to go Chester, Elphick. I'd bring Bree back into the team. And
do you think Bree was injured because he wasn't in the 18?
I don't know what happened there. There was no mumblings of him being injured. No. So I'd bring him back in. I'd keep Taylor at left back because he's the only left back we have at the club. And I would go.
I'm asking what you think we'll do, by the way, not what you do.
What I think we'll do. I think we'll probably just go unchanged. I think we'll probably. Well, bar Balassi, I think we'll put Abraham to the left, Kodja to the right, and the rest will. I think he'll bring Bree back in. So Bree will come in, Adoma will move to the left, and Kodja will come in.
So you don't think Green will come in for Balassa?
No, I think it'll be Adoma.
Adoma was playing anyway.
But Kodja
on the right,
and then they'll swap. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. I could see you thinking
just
behind
with Adoma's work rate as well. He tracks back more.
I'd pick Adoma every week at the moment on the wingers.
Yeah.
Give me a choice with those wingers. I mean, Adoma plays. It's difficult. I just wish I could make sense of what I'm seeing. But we must emphasise again that we both really think Dean Smith's the right man. There's no way he'll get push at any point this season. He will be here next season. Dean Smith.
100%.
Where the players are or not isn't one thing, but Dean Smith will be here.
100%.
If I had to press you for a score prediction,
1-0 Ipswich.
Oh, come on, Dan. Don't be sitting there. Come on, you're making me feel glum.
Well, that's 1-0 Ipswich.
3-1 Villa.
Why?
You heard it here first.
What are you basing that on? The second half performance?
I'm hoping Jack's going to be back.
Well,
I'm putting all my eggs in that basket that Jack's going to be back and we're going to be galvanised.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.